This episode of Monday's Rock is brought to you by RockstarMind.com, because what really makes a rock star is what's in between the ears. All right. Hey Rockstars, Steve aka Void here, and I want to welcome you to episode number 3 of Monday's Rock. I'm super stoked for this week. Lots of cool stuff coming up, and I hope that you're excited for this week as well. This episode is number 3, which is called The Simple Shift, and I wanted to just pose an idea today, because as we as we go through our day, as we go through our guitar practice, really anything we're setting out to do that requires some form of skill, we typically think of it as something that's easy or something that's difficult, okay? And like, this is easy or this is difficult. And the idea that I want to pose today is that we may have had it all wrong, okay? We look at something as, oh, I'm not able to do this, or, yep, I'm able to do that, that's easy. And we think of it as some skill that's kind of beyond us, and either we aren't born with the ability to do this, we don't have the talent for it, or we just can't learn it because maybe it's too late, or maybe we're in a specific situation that prevents us from achieving it. So the idea that I want to pose today is one that I've talked about for many years, and that is that there's no such thing as easy or difficult. Instead, it's familiar or unfamiliar. So if you stop and think about it, when it comes to something that you can't do, is it really difficult, or is it just that you don't know the ins and outs? You're just unfamiliar with it. So, and the opposite would hold true for if something was easy. It's just you're familiar with it. So, for example, think of something that's easy for you, whether it's on guitar or just something like even walking to the mailbox. Okay, so let's just say you have a mailbox, and when you first move into the house, you don't necessarily know where it is, or maybe you have to go to a store and you don't necessarily know where it is. So today it's a little bit easier. It's a little bit more effortless because we can just put in the address into our phone. But still, we look at the GPS, and still we have to follow the directions. And so we're looking, oh, maybe, okay, so it's a right turn over here. Oh, it's a left turn over here. Okay, and we keep going straight for a couple kilometers. All right, and then it's behind this building over here. So at first, it's unfamiliar, or it's unfamiliar territory. And so we may not be able to get there as quickly as maybe as we would if we were familiar with it, right? So you'll notice that when you drive somewhere first, that it's slow, and you're looking around, you're looking at all the surroundings, and maybe it's daytime, and maybe there's traffic, and so you're trying to follow the GPS and look for those turns. So once you get there, you've arrived there, okay, cool, so now you know where it is. The next time you go there, it's probably going to be, oh yeah, I remember, oh, there's this red building over here, okay, cool, so now it's behind that one there. So there's certain things that you're familiar with that allow you to get to the end result a lot faster. Then maybe it's nighttime and everything looks different at nighttime. So you're looking for that store, and you can't, it's where it should be, but things look different because it's nighttime. So it takes you maybe, the same amount of time as it took you the first time, maybe a little bit less. But then after you go to that store a few times, then you become familiar with where it is. That, let's just say you need to go to the store to pick something up and you're running late. So you have to pop out, you're speeding a little bit, and so you're going faster, and then you get to that store, and it's like you could go there, anything could be happening. It could be a storm, it could be anything, but you go there because you know exactly where it is. You don't have to think about it anymore, and you can get there. It's easy, it's fast. I'll pop out to the store, no problem. And then you go out there, and then you get what you need. So think about the parallel to your playing, that if you aren't familiar with the chords in the song, if you aren't familiar with the movements, the let's say there's some legato or some speed that is required in a specific section, typically we aren't familiar. It's not that it's hard, it's not that it's difficult, it's that we aren't familiar with what's required to play that part. So it might be that the pattern, just there's something about it that we don't quite get. Maybe there's something, a weakness in one of our fingers that we need to develop, or kind of what's the word I'm looking for, sort of compensate for. Okay, maybe instead of using the pinky, we use the ring finger. So we have to approach this first, meticulously. In order to play fast, we practice slow. And so you do this strategically and meticulously. And then also, maybe there's something that happens, like if we're not looking at the part, like we're looking away, we're not looking at our fretting hand, or maybe we're thinking too much, or maybe we're not thinking soon enough about the next fret, or maybe we don't have a piece of paper in front of us with the diagram, or maybe we're just not tackling it from all the angles that we need to become familiar with it. Because one thing that you'll find is that there is actually, speed is a side effect of being familiar with the part. So just like you could run out to the store really quickly in 5 minutes because you know exactly where you're going, with a guitar part, when you know all the ins and outs of that guitar part and you've tackled it from many different angles, that's when the speed can just come naturally. You don't have to work at the speed. It just comes naturally because you're just so familiar with what's involved in it. Okay, so it's a pretty common principle to practice slow in order to play fast. But that's why, is not that it just becomes easier. Yeah, okay, sure, it becomes easier, but it's more that it becomes more familiar. Okay, so the better you understand the guitar parts, the better you're going to be able to play the guitar parts. All right, so what I want you to do now, because this isn't just all about theory, what I want you to do now is, as you go through your week and you, first of all, this might be just a weight that's lifted off your shoulder. Oh, wow, it's just unfamiliar. So how do I become familiar with it? It's not like some shackles that you have that are keeping you down. So as you go through your week, definitely think about the familiar and unfamiliar things in your week, and why they're easy, why they're familiar, why they're difficult, why they're unfamiliar. And then think of a guitar part that you can't play right now. And I want you to think of 3 reasons why it's unfamiliar. And it might be because you don't know how to relax your muscles, you don't know how to play faster. There's always a reason. Okay, so I want you to think of 3 reasons why some part that you're trying to play is unfamiliar. Okay, and then I also want you to think of a part that you can play, or anything that you could play on guitar, and think of why it's easy, why it's familiar. So I want you to list that below this video, and if you have any questions, if you don't know, then definitely comment below, and I'll hop in and I'll give you some tips. All right, so that's enough for this week's episode of Mondays Rock. Go forth, go into your week, feeling confident, feeling motivated, and then just look for what's familiar, what's unfamiliar. And definitely, if you need more help, check out playmoresongs.com to check out my book, Practice Less, Play More. If you don't have your copy already, thousands of readers, thousands of guitar players around the world are checking it out, reading the book, using the strategies, getting results. So definitely check that out if you haven't already, and I'll see you in the next episode.